In the last video in our Did You Know series, we discussed the importance of the battle at Stones River, but we didn't discuss the reason for the importance of this battle. President Lincoln was very anxious to move forward with the Emancipation Proclamation. In order to do so, he needed the confidence and approval of the Union and the government. He was very anxious for a Union win, and because of this, he was anxious for the completion of the Battle of Stones River. Now, you may remember from our last video, we discussed Major General William Rosecrans, who was in command of the Union Army at the time, the 14th Army Corps. They were camped in Nashville and preparing for the battle, but hadn't quite left. Lincoln was becoming very impatient with him. President Lincoln had sent his general-in-chief, Henry Halleck, to push things along a little bit. Halleck contacted Major General Rosecrans and let him know that the president is very impatient. Halleck stated to Rosecrans that the president is very impatient at your long stay in Nashville. He went on to warn Rosecrans that, as I wrote you when you took the command, the government demands action, and if you cannot respond to that demand, someone else will be tried. So in other words, move along, get things moving. They were anxious for this. As I said, they did need the confidence of the Union and approval of the Union and the government to move forward with the Emancipation Proclamation. President Abraham Lincoln issued the Emancipation Proclamation on January 1st, 1863, announcing that all persons held as slaves within the rebellious areas are and henceforth shall be free. So initially, the Civil War between the North and the South was fought by the North to prevent secession of the Southern states and preserve the Union. Even though sectional conflicts over slavery had been a major cause of the war, ending slavery was not initially the goal of the war. However, all of that changed in September of 1862 when President Lincoln issued his preliminary Emancipation Proclamation, which stated that enslaved people in those states or parts of states still in rebellion as of January 1st, 1863, would be declared free. The Confederacy attempted to get the assistance of the British government as well as the French government. However, because they did not want to support slavery, both of them declined. This video is dedicated to the memory of Mr. Frost's great and great-great-grandfathers, Mr. John and William Martin, who both voluntarily enlisted in the Union Army on January 19th, 1864. They were both sent to K Company, the 13th Wisconsin Infantry.